Perks, you can only have 3 perks per loadout. It's up to you to choose which ones you prefer. C4 is effectively just a bag charge of explosives. You can throw it on the ground, you can stick it to walls, you can stick it to cars. Wherever you throw it, it will stick. I don't think it will stick to people though. The idea of it is you would throw it, say, on a vehicle and wait until somebody runs past that, and then you have to manually trip it. I think you press double F if you've got that perk allowed, and that will trip the bag charge. Special grenades allows you to have 3 of, if you choose whatever you have up here. You would normally only carry 1, but if you choose this perk here, it will allow you to carry 3 of them, but not smoke, only flashbang and stun grenades. Rocket propelled grenades, similar idea to the grenade launcher, but not usually banned from servers. Sometimes they are. Not really very accurate actually, but they do cause a mighty explosion. It's not guaranteed to send one into a room and it will kill everybody in a room, but if they're close enough it will. Claymores, my favourite. You can plant them anywhere on the ground. Usually, effectively, if you're in a building, you can plant this behind the door, so if any enemy comes in to get you, it will automatically trip. You don't need to manually trip that. It will automatically trip when an enemy runs past. 3 frag grenades effectively just allows you to carry 3 frag grenades. Normally you would only carry 1. Bandolier gives you extra ammunition if you're using that with another perk, which I'll talk about later. It's quite handy, but you'll usually, depending on what weapon you use, you will usually be able to pick up ammunition from the battlefield. Bomb squad allows you to see where claymores are planted. So if you're in a room where somebody uses a lot of claymores and you're always getting killed by them, this actually puts a little icon above the claymore which can even be seen through walls. So that's handy as an anti-claymore device. Perks 2, stopping power, effectively gives you more stopping power with your weapon. Juggernaut is a reversal of the stopping power that basically means if you are hit by a round that would normally you would be killed with 1 shot, this perhaps would double up your strength, so you would need to be shot a couple of times with the same weapon before you would die. Sleight of hand allows you to effectively double up the speed in which you reload your weapon in between magazines. Double tap, as I said before, double tap in conjunction with bandolier. If you use double tap, it does increase the rate of fire. Obviously it doubles up the speed at what the rounds are fired, but because of this obviously your magazines will run out quicker. So if you choose that, a lot of people do choose the bandolier option alongside it, but like I say, not necessary if depending on what weapon you're using, as you can pick up magazines from the battlefield. Overkill allows you to carry 2 primary weapons instead of a sidearm. So a lot of people, maybe if you use a sniper rifle, you could use maybe a CQB weapon like an MP5 or a P90 or something like that, just for, as sniper rifles really aren't much use for short range unless you can fire accurately from the hip, which isn't easy. UAV jammer, quite a handy one for myself. If the enemy has UAV radar, you appear as a red dot in the radar. If you have this UAV jammer, you don't appear as a red dot, you're invisible on their radar. Also, a side note to that, if you do have UAV jammer and you fire your weapon which does not have a suppressor on it or a silencer on it, when you fire that weapon you will appear as a red dot in the radar. So if you're going to use UAV jammer, I personally would use a silencer also. Sonic boom basically gives you more power to your C4 bag charges and grenades. So whereas if you throw a grenade and it explodes say 15 feet away from the enemy, it might not kill them, but if you have this, then it's a better chance of killing them. It effectively gives a higher kill radius. Perks 3, Extreme Conditioning, allows you to run longer. When you run, when you're pressing the walk forward key and press shift, it makes you go into a sprint. You will automatically, after a certain distance, revert back to walking speed. If you've got this perk, it allows you to sprint for longer distances. Steady aim, what I was talking to you earlier in a previous video about my P90. Using steady aim effectively allows you to fire from the hip with a bit better accuracy. Now, so long as you know where your gun is pointing at the time, that is very effective. So like I say, what I use, this is my little secret, right where the cursor is pointing right now, I have a small dot in the middle of my screen that it's just a corner of a sticker. It is very small, so it doesn't annoy me. But I know whenever I'm walking about the battlefield that wherever this small dot is pointing is where the weapon is going to fire, if I just press fire without bringing the weapon up to shoulder to aim. So that's a very, very handy little thing for me. I use it with the P90 with the suppressor, because it does spray about anyway, but using steady aim makes it a little bit steadier, and with this little dot in the middle of the screen makes it a bit more, at least I know where I'm aiming anyway without bringing it up to aim, as it does take time to bring up to aim. Last Stand and Martyrdom, do not use, they are entirely for noobs. And you'll get banned from a lot of servers if you use them. Deep Impact is actually quite similar to, till I find it, Stopping Power. Basically gives you a bit deeper bullet penetration. I use Stopping Power and Deep Impact if I'm playing on non-hardcore servers. It effectively means you need to put more rounds into somebody to kill them. With my AK-47, which is a high powered weapon anyway. Iron Lungs if you're using a sniper weapon. When you're aiming with a sniper weapon, if you press and hold the shift key, that keeps it very, very steady for a certain length of time, but the idea is with Iron Lungs you can hold your breath for longer, therefore keep steadier for longer when you're taking aim. Dead Silence, I use that in conjunction with UAV jammer and the silenced weapon, so it basically makes you more difficult to detect out in the battlefield. When you're running, you don't make as much noise. If your enemy has got a decent set of headphones, they can usually tell when somebody's running past them and where they are just by listening. Eavesdrop does not get used at all, thanks to the likes of Mumble and TeamSpeak, but Eavesdrop just never gets used. A quick rundown through attachments that are available to weapons. Again, depending on what level you're at, will depend on which ones are locked or unlocked. First one's a grenade launcher, just for noobs really. You will get banned from a lot of servers if you use this. Silencer suppresses the noise obviously from your weapon. It is handy if you're using a UAV jammer and don't want to be detected on enemy's radar. Red dot sight is a very, very popular sight. There's no magnification on it, but it does obviously put a red dot where you're aiming. ACOG, I believe, magnifies 4 times. Not really much use for close quarter, really to be used for medium to long range, even medium range. Personally, I'm not keen on it. I don't really use that sight on any weapons. I prefer the red dot sight. That can be attached to just about any weapon other than the MP44, which doesn't allow any attachments. But yeah, it's a very popular sight, that, and it does increase accuracy a little bit.